So do you have any advice for up-and-coming drummers? Any particular areas that they should be focusing on?
Uh, yeah. You know, this is not just young drummers. It's also drummers who've been playing a while. We have to get to a point where we appreciate the basics, okay? And the basics, when I was a fusion drummer and I was transitioning back into the rock world, where I then ultimately met Winger, I looked down at my nose at anything that was less than a really busy groove with a lot of ghost strokes in it. I thought that simple was stupid. It was the same word, you know, simple equals stupid, because in my mind, anybody can play pa, pa. But when you think about it, why is it that there are a handful of drummers who play in that style, that real hard-hitting, basic, simple style, that keep getting the calls for all the important recordings and the bands, the big bands that play that more roots rock? There's a reason, and that's because we could have a room filled with 100 drummers, and the instructions are to play that beat, pa, with an eighth note ride pattern on a closed hi-hat. And odds are that after the 100 drummers have played, we'd go around the room and go, that was really good. That was excellent. But everybody's playing the same thing, so what's the deal, you know? So I think it comes down to having respect for the basics, you know, and then everything else flows from that. It's like learning to ride a bicycle. Like, you can't ride with no hands and do all the tricks until you can just keep your bicycle going straight, you know, without any bells and whistles. So respect. And that's kind of how, like, the rock drums course starts out. It goes right back to the basics, and what I call, you know, 7 tried and true kick snare patterns, where the first one is just da, and there are 7 of them, pa, or, you know, do ba, do ba, and to kind of tie it all together and drive home the fact that for the 50, 60 years of rock and roll, these same beats keep recycling. I have musical examples way back of, say, you know, something all the way from the 50s even, that will use that kick and snare pattern all the way up to some of the newer bands, you know, whether it's Death Cab for Cutie or, you know, Art of Dying. You know, those are some of the newer bands, but then the bands in between, like, you know, Van Halen, you know, 70s bands, or AC/DC, and everything before and after, because these same patterns, they're there. I don't think anyone could choose an album that has 10 or 12 tunes on it where we wouldn't find one of those 7 kick snare patterns on it.